With January comes a lot of changes. We are in the new year, which means a new you. But definitely one of the things that I've noticed, personally, I'm not able to just go off from a year ago and just brush off all of the ideas and the thoughts that I had from the prior year. And that's where I definitely had this moment to reflect. I don't know if y'all do that, but I had this chance where I sat down with myself this first week of January, and I thought some of the things that I thought were going to work out perfectly might not actually work out for me here in 2023. And I'll kind of get into that, but I know off the bat, one of the things that I was talking recently to some of my friends was the fact that I have all of these lofty goals and I have all of these ideas, and a lot of them are tied to some of like the external wins, right? So the fancy car, the perfect job title, and looking a certain way, feeling a certain way, and then I realized it's just really not going to work for me, right? I started focusing more about quality and substance versus how things, the glitz and the glams of things. And I'm not sure if how y'all have had this experience, but it's been coming. It's been a long time coming. It's been a year or so where I've started to really decide, what are my priorities? And with that being said, I realized that one of the big topics for me has been my self-worth and the ways that I go ahead and take care of myself, as well as how that's impacting my net worth. And kind of the relationship between the two, and just the way that I relate to my money nowadays, and how I want to help others and be of service to others. And so it's been a wild ride, and I'm glad that I get to kind of share this experience with everyone and tell a little bit about my story. And definitely one of those things that has changed is the fact that I recall 3 years ago when I pretty much started off really hardcore on my financial journey, how intrinsically tied these two things were for me, and these two things being my self-worth and my net worth, right? I recall being at a point in time where I was $40,000 in debt. That is 40, and there's 3 zeros behind that. And I'm telling you, that was a terrifying moment in my life. And I just distinctly remember just saying, I'm not going to do this anymore. I am going to make a change. I'm going to move forward. And next year is not going to be the same as this year. And with that being said, I started creating a plan. So I took things step by step. I went ahead and started creating an idea of what I wanted my life to look like. And I'm not gonna lie, that changed everything. And a year from that moment, right? A year from when I realized I have this big 40 number, and I really want to go and pay off my debts in 3 years, and I had all these lofty goals, I was actually achieving them, and it was amazing. And right around that time, I started focusing a lot more on going out on trips with my friends, going out and buying the cute clothes and doing all these things. And I realized it's not really a priority for me anymore. So then again, back to the drawing board, made a shift. What's important to me? Because all of those things looked really great on paper, but I didn't feel any better, right? So what was going on? That's the kind of question that I asked myself. What is going on? And then as I'm back to the drawing board, writing things down, and I realized those weren't my priorities, right? Being able to go ahead and shift my mindset and shift my mentality such that I realized, this is an amazing journey, and I have really lofty goals for myself, and by breaking it down, I'm able to reach them. That is actually something that I really pride myself on. So being of service to others, being able to go ahead and achieve these goals, but not necessarily the external wins that everyone says, this is your vision of success, right? With that moment came a vision of clarity, right? So when I realized what's important to me, and I realized how I wanted to move on this earth and how I wanted to be of service of others, that's really where it started to cement my self-worth. And it didn't fluctuate, right? It didn't matter what situation I was in. It didn't really matter what the zeros in my bank account were or the lack thereof. I started to just really understand that this is who I am and these are the things that I value. And that actually changed the trajectory of my life in many ways. So that's where I actually started to get into communication with amazing people in my life, right? That's where I started a side hustle. That's here we are. That's where I started to make amazing connections and travel actually quite a lot. But in those travels, the connections that I made were way different than they were in the past. And my relationship started to get better. My relationship with myself started to get better. And I realized in turn, some of the best things that I've ever done to go ahead and help myself and to help my confidence has been to invest in not only my education, my actual formal education, but my financial education, but likewise to go ahead and invest in myself, my health, my mental health, the types of relationships that I enter in, and continuing down that path, I saw a significant change, amazingly so, a significant change in my net worth as well, right? So within 3 years, kind of going back and forth of realizing that I had to shift my priorities, that some things that, what are the things that I stand for, wanting to be of service to others, all of that kind of led to me being here where I am now, where I've been successful in being able to go and pay off my debts, increase my net worth, but also be in this moment where I get to share my story with others and build community, right? So I get to give of myself in a way that I would have never thought of being able to do even like 3 years back. So it's definitely been amazing, but I will definitely say some of the best things that I could ever share with people is the fact that you have to start small. My wins wasn't a big amount of cash and savings. It was being able to go ahead and learn how to budget. That was my first win. What is my money doing? What does a budget look like? I would say the second win is even having a savings account at all, right? This is where I started from, and that's where I would encourage people to go ahead and start small and go from there, and then you build on these small wins until you get to a big one, and that also builds confidence, right? So if you ever have any questions about how you can make changes in your own financial journey, or how you can figure out what you would want to prioritize, or if you just feel you need to go back to the drawing board because things have changed, then just go ahead and DM me or give me a call, and we're going to be here at Mills Knows Bills here to help you out.